The Fuji Speedway, it's wet, it's very wet, and it's where this Formula One season enters its decisive phase. Lewis Hamilton's World Championship lead is down to 2 points, and he's desperate to turn pole position into race victory in this Japanese Grand Prix, for which your commentators are Martin Brundle and James Allen.
Thank you, Steve. Hello, everybody. Welcome to an extraordinary scene. The fog descends on Fuji Motor Speedway, and we're about to get a Grand Prix underway. Well, 31 years ago, here at Fuji, in similar conditions, Britain's great hope, James Hunt, started from the front row of the grid and got the job done, winning the World Championship for McLaren. Today, Lewis Hamilton walks in James Hunt's footsteps. He's gone one better by grabbing pole position. And although he can't win the world title today, victory, and especially finishing ahead of Fernando Alonso, would move him a decisive step closer to clinching the world title at his first attempt. It's all about reversing the momentum that Alonso has built up in the last 3 races, in all of which Hamilton has dropped points to the Spaniard. He's now just 2 points ahead with 3 races remaining. Well, yesterday in qualifying, he struck a decisive blow in treacherously wet conditions. The key was to get a mistake-free lap. And although Alonso set faster sector times than Hamilton during the course of the qualifying session, he didn't do it all on one lap. Whereas Lewis managed to put his best 3 sectors together, a nice clean lap, and grab pole by 7/100ths of a second. His 5th pole position of this 2007 season. But it's on days like these that things can go very badly wrong, and the form book can get thrown out of the window. We've already had 2 completely crazy races this year, in Montreal, Canada, and of course Nürburgring in Germany. And I reckon we're in for a 3rd one here. These will seem like the longest 67 laps of Lewis Hamilton's career. One man who plans to take advantage of the potential chaos and who has a lot of fuel in his car and a good wet setup in the Honda is Jenson Button. And you'll see right there, 6th on the grid, is the man who won last year in wet conditions in the Hungarian Grand Prix. And a lot of people fancy him today. If he can get a good clean start, the front runners, the front 2 rows, the 2 McLarens and the 2 Ferraris, we believe will be stopping twice. And everybody, possibly from Heidfeld backwards, but certainly from Button backwards, stopping just the once. Those guys can pose a serious threat to the front runners here this afternoon. Of course, we are going to start this race behind the safety car. That is an advantage for Lewis Hamilton because there'll be less of a challenge for him going into the first corner from Alonso. You can see the second half of the grid there. David Coulthard is in 12th place. I spoke to him this morning. He had various different plans in mind. Tonio Liuzzi is shown as 14th. In fact, he's going to start this race from the pit lane. Anthony Davidson down there in 19th spot. And the 2 Japanese drivers at the very back of the grid, Sato and Yamamoto. We may well, Martin, go 2 hours rather than 67 laps, depending how long the safety car stays out for at the start. But you need a clear head for a day like this, but you cannot avoid the kind of chaos we often see in these situations.